This is a call out to all entrepreneurs. You need to stop, look, and listen. Today, we're going to be talking to entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs who want to start changing your business or creating one as well. Today's session is what we all need to know, especially as the new year is coming in. And welcome today to Let's Get Real. My name is Glenda Kroll. I'm your host for today. And
I'm Nicole Harvick. I am your host as well. And I think this is perfect timing for what we're going to be talking about today, because as you said, we're going into 2025. And that was a blink. 2024 was a blink for me. I swear to you. I look back and I'm looking up at things to do before 2024, didn't get them done. So now, it's like, okay, I gotta get on some of this stuff, and it's going really, really fast. But I think this is going to be a great show today for a lot of people that want some great information. And our guest today brings a new approach to business with her unique client acquisition system. And she obtained her MBA in 2024 and created something called the Silva Growth Methodology. I can't even say it, Glenda. Methodology. She talks about self-worth, mastery, and high closing stats. And I think that's so important because that's what we're all looking for, is how do we close? So anyway, welcome, Johanna Silva, to the stage.
Hi, thank you so much. What a great introduction, Nicole. Thank you. You're awesome. Glenda, thank you so much. And I've known you for years with Shaq. He's a phenomenal coach, and we both love him as he's been our mentor for many years. And thank you so much for bringing me here today. So yes, this is the season. This is the time. There's so much going on. I'm so excited to share. In 2025, I feel like the ladies are looking for that change. With the technology coming in, we need to know sales, we need to know technology, and we need to have an online operation, because you know how the market has been changing in the last 3 to 4 years. So we've been seeing that. So with the Silva methodology, it brings it to life, where we're helping these ladies not only in the sales mindset with the self-worth mastery, like how to think your way into success, how to think, how to close, that confidence, right? We are our self-doubters. Sometimes there's days where we're thinking, am I going to do this? Am I going to get that call? Am I going to make that change? So it really boils down to having your right mindset and honing down the confidence, right? And the self-worth mastery. And that's what I started and created the self-worth mastery courses. And going into high stats closer, before you go into that, you got to have your mind correct. Then you go into high stats closing, and that's a course that I developed for ladies and entrepreneurs. If they're agents and they're looking, how do I close that high ticket sale, or how I transition not only in a B2B space, but now in the online space, right? How do I generate a high ticket close that's going to take me a couple hours versus chasing down a long-term cycle operating closing a deal that's going to turn into 3-4 months just to get a commission. So that's part of. I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Can we step back for a second?
Sure.
Before we're ready to close, we got to be able to open. Before we're closing a sale or bringing somebody on into our world, let's talk about for a moment, because, a cold lead is not going to get you anywhere. And the way the stats show today, they show that a person needs to see you something like 12 times before they're even going to think to buy from you. So, and as time is going on, it used to be 4 or 5 times. Now we're up to 12, maybe 15 times before they're going to even come and look at you or really start to trust you, because, part of it is the know, like, and trust system that we need to make sure that we are seen and that we are heard, so that they can sort of trust us and connect with us before we can even to sell them something else. And I know it all starts from, starting at that point, and then we can get that. So let's talk about, first of all, starting on your adventure, because there's a lot of people that are now switching over to being an entrepreneur, and people that are struggling today being that entrepreneur.
So being an entrepreneur is you're wearing different hats, right? So let's just clarify, what hat are you, what's your best skill sets? If your best skill sets is organization, but it's not in making the introduction, well, let's work on the introduction of the cold call. You mentioned cold calling, or how do you make your one-time close? I remember back in the field when I had my one-time close, where it was 60, 70%, 30% in a very competitive market. But the key was you have to bring three values into the introduction call that's going to benefit your prospect, not yourself, but what is the prospect needs are, and you outline that in that first introduction. So it all boils down to is how is your behavior, how is your introduction, and how are you introducing yourself to the prospect? Or is it just too salesy in the front where it takes you 5-10 times to go see that prospect for them, okay, fine, and then they cancel on you. The key is, having a right strategic approach in the beginning of your introduction, because it only takes 3 minutes to either have the prospect say, yes, let's book that appointment. Yes, I want to hear you, because you have verbally addressed 3 values to the prospect that they're going to need that. I've been praying for you. Where have you been? Because you mentioned those 3 values. But before that, to answer your question, Glenda, before that, research who your prospect is. What are you offering? What value are you offering to the prospect? Have you did your research and your services and the competitive side? It is competitive in the market that you're servicing. But I feel like if you have a right introduction, and that's what I teach in high stats closing, if you have a right intro right in the beginning, then they will be open to hear what you have to say. They will book that appointment, and that's what I teach.
I love it, because we have to learn that if we're, especially for people, if you're looking for newbie entrepreneurs that are just coming in, people that are starting to sort of put their toes in the water to see if the water is warm enough to go jumping in. And like I said, there's also a lot of people out there that are struggling right now just to make any type of a sale.
Absolutely. It is sales is an art, right? It's a way of showing how do I give the personality or behavior psychology into the introduction, right? It really starts in your confidence. And that's why it goes into self-love mastery, is bringing your self-confidence, remove the noise of the world. If you just came from a breakup or if you had an argument, all that has to just go away for the next 8 hours of your zoning in your frequency, your energy, your mindset to, okay, my goal today, the next 2-3 hours is to just give value, right? And how do I navigate that throughout the day? So in the sales process, it is a system in place. You just have to tone into that 2-3 hour window where you're just going to focus on that first introduction. And then you carry on to, okay, they said yes to that appointment, and they said yes to now you're doing, so there's 3 levels, right? There's the intro, there's appointment setting, the presenting, and then there's a close. 3 levels, presenting, you're closing that deal. So, and that's what I teach in my process, right? Because you have the confidence from the mindset, you have the knowledge, and you know who your competitors, and you understand the introduction when you're speaking with a prospect. And the cycle that you mentioned, 5 times, 10 times, that's too much. That's something we got to fix. What's going on in the beginning stages that is, or in your presentation, that's costing you 15 times to see the prospect. So let's get it down to max 3.
But it's not, I'm just going to be really honest with
you.
And, this is what I do. It's not just, they're just finding out this has actually been a stat that's been out there that is being given, that in order for people, like whether it's places like ads that are running and so forth. This is not a particular person. They're just showing out there now that most people, for them to buy a product or see, that's how many times a person needs to see for the average person.
Statistically.
So it's not me saying about one particular person. This is what the stats are right now for ads running and so forth, that people need to be seeing it. So, there's so many times, people say to me, well, why would I put on an ad? Like if I'm doing the same ad and it's on Facebook, why would I want it on Instagram? It's because you want to be seen on all of as many different platforms as you can, because then the person starts to actually see you. When you see an ad that's running one time, they're not going to see you. They're not going to connect.
Correct. So their mindset's thinking, well, I haven't seen this ad. I just see it once, or I'm not seeing the value behind it in social media. So people are researchers now. So now the reason I have the online business, helping them, ladies, an online business, is you have to really understand people are going to research on your social media, your channels, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook ads, YouTube. They're going to research the company. They're going to research what values are you adding. They're going to see, are they live? Are they posting these contents that makes relevant to what their services are pitching? So this is where it's very important to have those channels up to date. And it comes to having the right content, right? So that's another area that I help navigate, is creating the right content with technology that we have nowadays. The AI tools that you mentioned, how I teach the right AI tools that can help you accelerate versus doing it, with a non-AI technology, which is very competitive with what we're writing.
Yeah.
So, just what you're saying now, one of the most important things that most entrepreneurs have to learn, figuring out for themselves is about skills, what skills they actually have. What skills can they learn to start building?
Yes, exactly. So as an entrepreneur, you're carrying a lot of hats, right? So you got to learn the sales hats if you're going to be a trainer, or if you're going to bring someone on board. Do you know how to train? Do you know how to sell? And have you done sales high stats yourself? But when you get the right training, the right proper structure, and you get the one-time close or 3 show rate closing, and your presentation that has increased, or if you're an independent sales agent, or if you're like, hey, I want to start an agency or start a business, what tools do I need? We can give you those tools as well. In terms of, like you said, entrepreneur, it's like, where are you in your space? What is your strength, and what is something that you want to improve on, so you can really have a system in place, an operation in place. So these are very critical when you're having a business, right? Do you have all these ducks in a row? Do you have your funnels up if you need that in your business that you're servicing?
And I'm curious, when you talk about sales, does your method encompass all types of sales, or are you strictly, kind of focusing on one thing, two things? What kind of sales are you speaking of?
So we're talking about either online sales content, or we're saying the B2B space, or if they're an agent, or if they're trying to sell high ticket sales. How do I present online when I'm with a prospect online? I have an appointment booked, but my ratio has been really low. So I kind of audit them on that space where, okay, if you're a high ticket closer online, how are you navigating these presentations, and how are you, what's your script? Are you following a script, or is there something that you're stuck in, not asking the right questions, and you're looking at their pain points correctly, and you're not summarizing? Is it, we figure those out in that space.
Are you seeing high ticket sales kind of wane? Because I've noticed that a little bit in some of the groups I'm in. Like I've even had someone quote me.
I'll be honest with you. I think what makes my program different is I've seen a lot of 6-week courses where you're teaching them high ticket sales, but quite honestly, it's not going to really give you a honed in, rooted skill when you're in the high ticket sales space. So you need about 3 months. I would say 101, 3 months. And I feel the value, they're paying for these courses, but I don't feel like that's really making an impact on them closing when they present those offers to the online space. So there's another, the online space closing, it's one area. Then you have the B2B space. So with my background, I've done those multiple spaces and high tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So
does that answer your question? So if it's a sales agent or a real estate agent that needs to conduct contracts to have them now, turn over to sell their home, or they have an insurance agent, how do I do the introduction into my services?
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's exciting. I love it.
Good.
I love this. I love online business too. I was telling Chuck, I love online business. Like, how do you think I'm doing you for over 10 years? So I've done research and I've done it myself. So High Ticket Close was born from that. Self-Wealth Mastery was born when I created a founder of Self-Wealth Mastery. I'm a founder, high stats closer, and Silva Coaching. And I've started, a finance business. I've started an online business as well. So we had lead gen, where we had a lead gen coming in through the funnels, or we had lead gen coming in for Facebook ads. So from those aspects, it really gives me an understanding. Okay, well, we need the closers. Now we need the operations. Now we need the systems. Now we need this. So
builds and builds and builds.
Yeah. So who do I get? Well, what do I get? How do I, with the AI technology now in place, I'm involved with that as well. We look at, one other technology that helps you is Runway AI, Gamma AI. Copywriting, Write Sonic. These are all high-tech technologies that can write business plans, write marketing content for you. So now that we're transitioning into the AI space, I'm bringing that on to consult and show anyone that needs that consulting.
Yeah, and that stuff's not going away. So we all
we have to adapt. And Glenda, we're always adapting. We're changing things that we need. We're always adapting to the space that we're in, and it's always evolving. I'm always learning, but there's probably someone that's going to need that knowledge too.
So as an entrepreneur, when we go on in our way, and we're let's say I'm coming in to speak with you. Sure. And maybe I have a business, and you have this new acquisition system going. So walk me through what you would talk to me about in your acquisition system.
Sure. So I would definitely look at, well, first let's do an audit how you're running, and from there I can guide you and advise you. These are the tools that you can incorporate, where you can, instead of hiring these outreach programs like text messaging, or if you have your content emails on autoresponder, how is that being deployed? Or do you have the right writers? What's your conversions on opt-ins? So if you're looking at scaling, yes, how are you getting those leads, and how are you actually outreaching? And do you have those systems with the right CRM, right? So are you using what type of CRM that's going to help you automate those processes?
Right. So let's stop right there. So as an entrepreneur, I know people are hearing these words.
It depends, yeah.
Right now, because we also said that these are would-be entrepreneurs. So, people that want to get into it, as well as maybe they found that they have something special, a talent that they can use to teach other people, and they're looking to start in. So when we talk about one of the greatest things is making sure that you have certain things in. So we talk about autoresponders. Can we maybe go into, because there's a lot of people that are going to hear words and they're going to go, what is that? So let's.
Exactly right. So there's so much noise, and I keep saying, there's so much noise, and there's so much developers. Developers, engineers that are coming up with new processes. Zuhu marketing. There's hotspots. There's a lot of these CRMs, but like you said, Glenda, if someone coming in is new, I didn't know that even existed. So is really navigating, okay, so let's take a look at where you are. And this is what that I've been proven that has been working. And these are other outlets that can help you navigate and scale it with systems in place that does your social media postings. And we have tools that we can showcase on those tools where they can integrate. And subscriptions on that. But yeah, we can
Right. So you're not in this session where you're saying, okay, now, like, you don't need to have these things in place, right? You're telling us that you can help people set up so if they don't have an autoresponder, and let's explain, what is an autoresponder?
So an autoresponder, like for example, Aweber, right? That's just a third party. Like Aweber is an email marketing tool. That's one aspect. You have, the Go High Level. You have that. You have another CRM that's going to have Zoho Marketing that does it automated. You have I can list like 10, 20 of them that's automated.
But the whole idea of an autoresponder is to put all your leads in. And when you send out something like you're giving somebody a free ebook, you're going to take that ebook. Correct. And if you want to get that ebook, all you have to do to get it is an email address. Once you submit that email address, you get your free email, but it goes into an autoresponder. And that what it does, correct, right? It takes that name and it puts you on the list.
So the framework of that is you have an ad, right? So let's say, for example, you have an ad. The ad is being posted on Facebook, ad campaign, or a TikTok. You have your final URL website that's already built out. They see the ad on Facebook. They click on the ad. They opt into the landing page, right? You got to have the landing page. From the landing page, that's where it's asking your first, last name, and your email. They enter their information. Now they receive the information from the landing page. The information that was entered from the landing page goes into now a matrix systems behind, where now it goes to a workflow of, depending on the CRM, the email says 10 sequence of emails of John Smith. John Smith now got the first email introduction. From there, the third email, now you're giving a free book. The sixth email, now you're getting a consultation, booking appointment, now because you added value through that sequence. So it all starts from the ad, opt-in, the landing page. It goes in through the final Aweber email marketing, and that's what you call email marketing.
So becoming an entrepreneur, meaning that you do many different hats, but the great thing is having an autoresponder mainly means that you don't have to be sending emails out to each and every person individually. It means that it acts. So it brings it all together. It's your little machine. It's kind of your little assistant also that helps you send out to all these people that have responded to your original thing.
Exactly. And it's pretty much adding, like, you opt in for something that you want to read, or if it's a software that you're interested in and they ask for your email, then they'll send you write a blog newsletter of their services or the new thing that are coming out. So it's two ways to look at it. It's a newsletter opt-in subscription, or if it's a lead capture page with a landing page, and that's a lead capture from the landing page. So it really, there's different variations how email can be used and utilized. Yes.
And it's just the sort of the start of the relationship.
Yes, that's the start of the relationship. That's one way of capturing a lead, is from that relationship, because now you have the lead that you can follow up if they haven't booked an appointment with you from, I've seen you've been reading my emails. There's a contact if you have an opt-in phone number. That's where the introduction goes, and that's how you book that appointment, and that's how you start scaling into booking those into a deal.
Lovely.
And the services that you're in.
So you can, at that point, you can expand on that and then build onto that as well, right?
Absolutely. So as your business is growing, so once you see that you're putting that budget back into marketing, you really kind of look at your cost per lead, then it goes to cost per CPA. But yes, to answer your question, if you want to scale it, just do that. If you see it worked once, you're seeing the leads coming in, you just duplicate that. So you see what's working, you A/B testing, you see what emails are actually the highest opt-in, and there's so much matrix behind. There's so many things to look at as analytics side of things. It's just so much fun. For me, it's like exciting. It's like, so now you can really determine, how do you analyze which ad was working, which ad was not working, which ad did convert. So you got to look at those aspects, like which ad did have the most opt-in or close to lead and which one had the most conversion clicks or clicks to just looking at the ads.
And you help people with the learning all of these matrices so they understand what each one means.
Yeah, so there's knowledge base where you give an overview and how that's being optimized and how is it looking at where you can really refocus your marketing budget and where you can allocate it correctly. So those are things that you can look at behind the scenes. Look at the analytic aspect of your campaigns. So there's another component to that as well. Facebook has analytics. Google Ads also gives you like the analytic tools. There are tools that you can integrate, and it'll just give you a snapshot of your campaigning. So you really have, with the AI as well coming in, it gives you like a real market consumer behavior analysis on your ad campaigns and which ads are really converting in terms of the analysis of the behavior. You're always testing those out.
So one of the things I've noticed that like what you're talking about now is I get so many of these offers on LinkedIn from so many countries. And it's almost overwhelm. What questions do you ask? How do you sort through it? Or do you just ignore it because it's from another country and we have no control over things like that?
It depends, since if you're a global stream, right? If people are watching you globally, if they're opting in through that spectrum, there are filters in place. Most likely, if it's being shown or it's been viewed in different locations, wherever your audience is, if you have audience following you from those areas and has been viewed, it's probably going to be triggered.
Okay. Yeah. So I sort through those every day. Glenda, I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn.
It's probably your audience that you have in your views that are the IP location of other areas is being mapped out. Because analytics, they can see straight just by a video. I'm watching a video, or I feel like they sense where your eye contact is. They know where they saw an ad or they saw your video and they happen to be in another place, in the world.
So through all of this, let's go on to the next phase of your acquisition system.
So the email marketing, then you're looking at, so you have your sales teams, right? You have all these leads coming in because your marketing aspect's going awesome. You're coming into the funnel, your email's converting. Now, who's going to be contacting? One person cannot contact 100 leads or 100 appointments, right? So you need to really have your team in place where you have closers, where you have your sales teams, or you have your intro appointment setters. Then you have your closer from that process. So if you want to scale, you need your appointments setters, or the one person, that sole entrepreneur is doing it all, right? But you can't really scale if you're doing it all. You want to scale, you got to have a sales team that's going to help you navigate those, or have an agency that does sales to help you integrate that. And then you're just reinvesting. If you're starting out, just reinvesting into your operations and your sales front end.
There's something to say that you have to start building where you are, right?
You start, and then that's how you build. You start slowly. Your first client, then your second, you optimize. Okay, which campaign was really working? You start optimizing that, and you start increasing the budget.
And the part of it all is coming in. So figuring out in your area of where you need to add those extra people. Like we were just talking before we came on, greatest thing is if you're able to get an assistant to start with you, and it's the slow mode of figuring out what was the first thing that can help you to start.
Absolutely.
You can spend your time wisely.
Absolutely. Good question, Glenda. Very good questions. So that's the key component is, yes, you need to have the assistant. And the great part about my coaching is, I've helped develop SOPs, right? So you got to have all these frameworks and SOPs in place for each department if you're going to scale that.
Tell people what
Right.
SOPs are.
Standard operating procedure.
Okay.
So you have these, what's the admin day-to-day look like? You got to have all these things in place. You got to have all the structure, the SOPs in place, the KPIs in place. So your sales teams know what they're going to be navigating their targets and what is it that they're aiming for in terms of their income goals. You got to find out, what is that actually going to cost you? There's KPIs for that. What is this going to cost me if I hire a payroll? What is that going to cost my marketing? How do I increase that into my offers? So all that comes into play. You can multiply that, and you can also divide based on what your cost is, your marketing, and your acquisition, and your payroll. So you really got to look at those factors when you're running a business. And so you really got to understand, okay, well, yeah, the admin's very essential. That is essential because they're going to help you streamline that workflow. They're going to help you to make those appointments, make those introductions when you're trying to hire recruiting. If you need to have a recruiting department. So they're going to be helping you navigate through those processes and creating letters as a piece for you as well.
And some of the important factors are when
the admin work.
The admin work is important, but also keeping track of everything you're doing so that you can start to create manuals so that at some point you can pass over things to other people, correct?
Oh, yes. So that your admin is your admin executive that's going to be with you and structuring email, structuring a processes, doing the actual back-end work that's going to be navigating where you don't have to spend hours putting a letter together. She can help you with that. Or if you have to create a board job, she can help you create that. If she has to help you create the calendar for appointments, certain things that she's navigating the intro for you. So it is making contact, researching for you, making sure the emails are out for the departments to give you the updates or the marketing partnerships, doing all those things that, as an entrepreneur and business owner, you really got to know how you can start advising what she needs to get done. So another part of my one-on-one coaching is we've had those so we can help and structure that for them.
So in other words, we can get rid of the being the octopus.
Yes, you can.
And do you coach one-on-one or do you have big group sessions?
Both.
Both. Okay.
So when people are looking to start helping get sort of figuring out where they're to go, what do they have to do? Like, do they have to get certain things in place before they start to connect with you? Like, how do you schedule or start the program of your connection with them?
Oh, sure. So they book through johannasilva.com. They can book an appointment or contact me. And this, what I like to do if they've seen this with you here, depending on whether there's 3 programs, it ranges from 5, there's different levels. There's 3 months, 6 months to 1 year coaching. So I really take a look at that. And it really boils down to, for me, it's adding value for them. How can I be of service and add value to the potential client or the person that needs the coaching? And so I kind of customize where they are with their processes. If it's someone coming in new or, hey, I really want to get this going, but okay, well, let's do this. Let's do the one-on-one for 3 months. Or if I see someone that needs, I need like constant, processes in place. Then I need help to execution. And then let's do 6 to 12 months, depending where they are. And we can show. Hello, are we back on?
We lost Nicole.
Hello.
Okay, so we're all back together again. Yeah.
I'm like, is it me or is it because I got kicked off last week?
I say my online side. I think we were off.
We were off just for a short while. So let's continue on as we talk about.
Glenda?
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you, Glenda.
Okay, I can hear her.
Okay,
Okay.
so
I can hear everybody.
Can you hear everyone? Okay. I can't. I think it's the internet here.
Yeah. So
Noise. Trying to get the noise off. I can hear you. Good.
can you hear me now? Okay. So we're going on an entrepreneur journey, and it can be very stressful and not knowing what to do with one's self of beginning your business, and or even getting so you can start in creating something. Do you talk about branding it anyways at any time? I think.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Glenda?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Or maybe it's not.
Can she hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Maybe it's she's in Canada.
No.
I can hear her. Yeah.
Okay, so what I suggest then, Johanna, you might, I was going to say pop out and come back in again.
Yeah, exactly. Because I had these issues last week because we had a big storm, but then all of a sudden some things flashed up. I think it was StreamYard, but I'm not sure.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, we're off and going. Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, well, you know what? Listen, this is the show's got to keep on going on because, you know, this is even if you have a business. See what happened just now happens in business, happens in life. And life is learning to know how to adapt your life, right?
And be resilient and bounce back wherever we left off.
Can we, I mean, seriously, I think that's, you're right, Glenda. You're absolutely right on that.
My life has always been about being able to perceive things the way that I thought it should be perceived, to adapt to situations. And this is a life challenge. It's not just a business challenge. And I believe that being an entrepreneur is part of living a life. It's a different life, and that it can be also a hard life because you work so much on your own at many times, especially when you're beginning.
Yeah, you do.
But I think one of the greatest secrets about being an entrepreneur is having a mentor, having a coach.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
And I feel like it's you start somewhere, right? You all got to start. The coach had a coach. The coach had a coach. So everyone had a coach. So you know,
when you look at any baseball player, you look at any football player, every single person continues through their life with coaches and mentors. It's not that you have a coach and that's the end of it. You're always changing. You're always adapting. You're always growing. And with that, sometimes you outgrow one coach and you might need a new coach because you're facing a different situation.
Absolutely. And I feel like you always, your mind always needs to be learning these new skills. And what better than a coach has done it 100 times before, and you're always learning from your coach. You know, you and I had the same coach. So we're always learning. We're always learning from the same coach. And so I agree with that. And it's a coach that it gives us the expertise and the value that we invested in ourselves. And so as Nicole and Glenda, you know, we invest in ourselves to become more knowledgeable and better to service our market, to service the ones that are going to need our services. And we are skilled to do that we invested ourselves first. And that's showing that we are serious about what we're offering. Okay,
so I want to just say that was a mic dropping thing that we need to really come back to.
Sure.
It all starts with you realizing that you need to invest in you. And that starts off on many different levels. But, you know, I hear people all the time, you know, you say, how much do you charge? And you tell them how much it is. And they go, oh, I can't afford it. Well, part of the things in life is you can't afford not to do certain things.
Right.
And when we stop to think of, there's ways that you can always afford things. You know, how often do you go to a store and you see those pair of shoes that you absolutely love and you absolutely know you can't afford it. But isn't it amazing how somehow you still manage to buy them?
It's just like that purse.
It doesn't matter what the.
I agree with you. And then all of a sudden, here I am walking out, walking from the store, like, well, yeah, we managed to buy it.
So when we talk about a coach, you're talking about making an investment in yourself, in your life, which will make you to upskill yourself. And
absolutely.
So it's comes with, it's again, it comes to the mindset of really, what do you see what's important in life?
And that's exactly what is starting out. Is it doesn't matter what age you're in or what, someone's, I'm past 50 or I'm past 40 or I'm past 60, like I'm done. Like, no, I mean, the founders, the Walmarts, they were under 60 and they started businesses. It's never too late. Any time in the stage that you're in, it's never late to learn something that someone knows in their 20s. Right. A 20-year-old could be teaching a 50-year-old. Like, it's never late. It's like the individual, like, well, they invested in themselves. They're here to teach you that.
Very true. I think that's really one of the biggest things. So if you're listening and you're learning and you're saying to yourself, well, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Then it's your mindset, and that's where it's a true indicator that you need to have some coaching if you are talking to yourself, because part of success is how you talk to yourself as well.
That's very true. And I feel when you're, we can be our own critics, and there's people like, if you have a coach, if you have someone that's going to mentor you, that once a week, that 101, it can be a life-changing for you, because you are saying you're making that first step by contacting that coach. And that's the first step. When I got on that plane, we went to London, I made that first step. You got to just take that leap. You got to make that first step to make those changes and to make those connections and elevate yourself. And yes, this is the step that you're taking, and congratulate for, making that first leap, because something in your soul, when you're in that traffic for 2-3 hours every single day, I know there's something I need to do. I know there's something I'm not doing. And all of a sudden you have it in your mind, and then you get home or you see an ad, you see something that's telling you this is what you need to be doing. So follow that intuition.
Ooh, good point. Good point. I love it, because that's exactly how I live my life.
Mm-hmm.
I always have these little voices and somebody's talking to me, I got this little devil on here, because part of who I am, there's still a little devil always. And then you got this little, fairy princess that's together, right? So you're going back, you got to even get deeper, because there's something out there that's actually leading us, and we just have to learn to quiet down, right?
Silence. Sit in your silence. You will always hear what you need to hear. Always. Yeah. Yes.
And I can, I remember many years ago, before I started my entrepreneurial career in businesses and acquisition, when I was in the corporate world, I'm driving, and I one day I feel like I need to be in that. I'm operating my office. I'm in here, like I'm in this reality that I feel like I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here. And there's that little voice like, you need to be here though, but I couldn't get two and two together. And so in going back to, well, you need coaching, you need to be around people that are in that space. You need to be listening. You need to be putting your frequency in the right direction. But it all starts in the mindset. The mind was talking to you, but now you're putting those frequencies out, where now you're going to start listening to that, intuition, and you're going to get these signs in front of you.
It's true. It's just like that, you that car that you're looking to buy, all of a sudden you see all these cars around, all these things, crazy things happen, and because I've lived it. So let's talk about, coming into becoming yourself and becoming that leader, and some of the most important things that we need to do in our own lives.
Absolutely. I feel like don't let failure discourage you, or don't let if you're going to go into business, you do have to be motivated. You have to think, this is what I'm going to do, and there's no options. I feel by having that consistent mindset of, be fearless of whatever the outcome is. Don't think about the outcome yet. Just go in, because you're going to be discouraged. Or what if I don't do this? Or what if I don't make the income? Or what if I'm not making the sale? That's going to push you that frequency back, versus you're not going to have the full power energy to still get up in the morning and start making the plan, start making the contacts, start making a weekly, daily, monthly plan. Because it all starts with, let me just take 2 hours out of my day, sit down, even if you have to be at the coffee shop. Hey, family, I got to go to the coffee shop. Can't make that date tonight. I can't go to that party this weekend. I just have to put this together, because there's so much distractions around us on a daily basis with events and invitations and whatnot, that if you have a goal that you need to meet, just stay focused on that until it's starting to have frequency and elevation.
So as we're kind of beginning to wind up, and we still have a little bit of time, I want to talk about, as the new year is coming in, and this is the greatest time of year to start looking at things and planning. Tell us what we need to know as the new year is coming in now. How do you see things? What directions do you give people?
Quite honestly, read in technology, being in the know, follow the market. If the services that you're in, I feel there's a lot of changes in our AI spectrum, with things are being done quicker, faster, more than we can blink an eye now. And so things are evolving where sales is probably going more in the tech side, where we need to understand, okay, how do I learn and take advantage of this new opportunity, right? If this is an obstacle, how do I take it? So how do I turn that and take an advantage? Don't let that distract you from, oh, my job's on the line, or take research and find out, how can I learn by your coaches, and how can I learn and put this in an advantage where I can switch to this and add a service to it.
I love it. And let's say, as now, I'm just reading, we got somebody who's saying, I've been messaging. Okay, somebody wanting to know. If we're looking now to sort of moving our lives forward into the new year, and we're not confident with AI, and I know, this is where the world is going. What do you say to people who are too scared to touch what we need to do now moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. It is overwhelming. I feel like it can be a little bit overwhelming, because there's so many tools and tech coming out really quick for us to even read the first one. So there's a lot going on. I just take a deep breath and really just learn one thing, one AI tool, one at a day, and don't overwhelm yourself with, there's different areas. So have a structure in place where is, how do I navigate with my content, or how do I navigate with marketing? Just start there with one topic. How do I create an evergreen PDF form to sell? Let's just start small, start there, and then we can gradually learn how we can integrate the AI into it. So that's my advice. So you're not feeling way overwhelmed, and utilize ChatGPT. Actually, that's a really good one, where you can just type in how I can overcome this in terms of tools when I'm starting out. ChatGPT is a tool now that you can utilize and use, and it really gives you great feedback in terms of how I can navigate this project, or how. So let's just start there. Actually, let's start with a ChatGPT. That's like the basic right now. Start there, because that gives you so much framework and knowledge and resources just by you reading, by having the right prompt. You can really prompt into, I want to create an ebook, or how do I create an ebook on these offers that I want to sell? ChatGPT can create an outline for you. Let's start there. And I promise you, I was looking at it myself, I love it. And so it really helps you navigate on just the beginning stages. So I say start with ChatGPT.
I think that's great ways. And the whole thing is you can put anything into Chat GPT.
Absolutely.
Just to play around with
I
it.
love that. I'm thinking there's another grade. There's 4.0. There's like, let's just start the basic where anyone has access to it now.
And I think that's really, that's the greatest advice that, that you can give people today is, there's nothing that you can do wrong. There's nothing you're going to break. So it's a matter of playing around with things, ask it questions. And go from that point on, right?
Yeah.
The better the questions you ask, the better your answers that you're going to get back.
And I like, there's prompts where you can just type in, please create a mindset courses for 6 weeks or create. I mean, it gives you the whole creation for you. So it really is mind blowing. And I think I going back to take advantage of technology. Hey, I would take as an entrepreneur, those that are listening, take advantage of that and create a business. They can create a framework for you, create the outline by giving the right prompt, and have a coach that can guide you, direct you with the processes in place and giving you a leeway where you're accelerating your process because you have more of that confidence. So it's definitely good to have that all around.
Beautiful. And so how is your 2025 going to be starting out?
Wow, it's there's exciting things going on. So I'm definitely excited to help as many entrepreneurs leaping into this direction, or helping as many sales beginners and closers and looking to take this to the next level. So I'm actually looking to help as many people this coming year, and I'll, presenting more, giving more value in the space. And I feel like, what is it, our main core? What is it, is it teaching? I love to teach. I love to mentor. So I feel like that's where I'm going to be excited to give value to the space and give value to people that are actually going to be, hopefully I can change their situation or change their outcomes in terms of, financial outcome for them as well.
Beautiful. And, before anybody's looking to get in touch with you, I've put your website underneath in the description. So anybody looking to connect up, you can do so by clicking on the link that is below. And we never, ever finish a session unless we hear from our Nicole Harvick to tell us what her feelings are about our sessions today.
Well, there was so much useful information, and we've got a world that is changing by the minute. There's no doubt about that. It's like, how do you even keep up with all this? And, you talk about having assistants, which I think is almost mandatory anymore. I don't have one yet, but I'm getting to the point where it's like, I can't do all this, Chat GPT or Ruby AI, any of it. I mean, that has complicated and simplified our life all at the same time. I got a daughter calling me like, Mom, she was, I actually wrote my own paragraph and they're telling me it's AI, so you've got to fight that in the schools. But then again, they can create courses and outlines for us. I think one of the most important things we talked about, though, is know, like, and trust. And I think that's so very important. And I always try to get in front of people, a few times. I know they need to get to know me, but Johanna, I love the fact that you have that trust factor. You really do. And you're knowledgeable, you're easy to listen to. You can tell that you're a pro. And I think you're very, very lucky that you have that know, like, and trust almost immediately. So congratulations with that.
Oh, thank you. And I feel like, I thank God and too. So he starts first in my day, and and it's really just used me to add value in how we can help the world better, and really help our neighbors, help our family and friends. And I feel there's not enough of that in this world. And knowledge is, I'm always learning myself too. But thank you, Nicole. And I just love what I do.
Good. And it shows. And it shows. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
And if you had one hint to tell somebody today of something, what would it be?
I'd say go for it. I see, I was on that freeway, going to work and behind your mind, what if I could, or what if I don't want to, because what if I don't make the income? Well, it's a bittersweet, but that's the process. Is, I think if you have the faith and believe, you will get through it. But you got to have, your faith and believe in consistency and action, lots of action.
Thank you so much. And worthiness. Once you believe in yourself and know your worth, things will change. Having faith in yourself. And I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. I have faith in you. I've watched you grow and see how beautiful
you have.
I am so enthralled with the woman that you are today. It is absolutely a delight today to have you on here, to join us again, and to have been watching how, even behind the scenes, that I keep an eye and just see how you're doing. And you know what, there's nothing nicer that I feel than to watch somebody else watch. It's like a flower blossoming. So thank you so much. You are a beautiful flower, and thank you for joining us today. And for those who are thinking, just turn around and do the action of reaching out, because what we all offer is just a time when you can connect. And it's that one connection and that one thing that, if the conversation goes where you think you want it to go, or that it meets what you're thinking of, then you can go for it. But if it doesn't, that's okay too.
Right.
The most important thing is that you do yourself that favor of reaching out to somebody who might be able to even guide you, if nothing else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's that fearless mindset too. But it's all going to be okay, because you have faith and belief. And like you said, Glenda, you just have to, believe in yourself and have the resources and mentors. And you really have to just take that leap of faith and lots of action.
Thank you. And that's what it's about. Yep. So thank you very much for everybody for watching today. And it's time for you to get real with yourself. That's what I have to say.
For 2025, here we go.
Thank you all so much.